Hey everybody, welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So I'm here with my October wrap up. Super exciting. I read 11 books in October and had one DNF. It's a pretty phenomenal month. I don't know how I did it, but somehow I did it. So let's go through the list of books and let you know what I thought about them. First one I finished was like literally on October 1st. We were still in Arizona. It was nice. I was with my friends. But I finished this the last day that we were together, I'm pretty sure. Everyone Here is Lying by Sherry LaPina. I gave this one 4 stars. This, if you're looking for a page turner that you want to get through really, really quickly, this is the book. I could not put this down. I continually thought about this book and would pick it up. Obviously, I'm with like my best bookish friends and I needed to read it and finish it. Like that should be enough to tell you it was really worth picking up. Each chapter, or the way it was constructed, I thought was really unique. Each chapter gave you a little piece from every character that was part of the story, which I thought was really unique. So many lies. So many lies. So the whole premise of this book was, a girl on this suburban street where kind of a lot of the families are connected to each other. Some of them in not so great ways. Some are friends. There is definitely adultery in this book. And one day, one of the girls goes missing. She came home from school when she shouldn't have, and she was missing. And so it's trying to figure out what happened to her. My only issue was at the end of the book, it kind of fell apart. It's like we had all of these different lies and information and all of these different kind of twists and turns to the story. And at the end, it was like, let's do this quick and be done. I know there's a really technical term. I don't know how else to describe it, but it just kind of fell a little flat for me. But overall, 4 stars. I really enjoyed the book. The next book that I read in October was one I actually listened to, and I listened to this one pretty much in its entirety on my way home from Arizona. So between the airplane ride and then I had about an hour-ish drive home from the airport. So I listened to The Greatest Beer Run Ever by John Chick Donahue. This is a memoir about the greatest beer run that Chick went on in his life. So this was during Vietnam, and him and his buddies were at a bar, and they're being exposed to a lot of anti-war protests and seeing their friends go to fight in Vietnam and come home and not be supported. So they're seeing all of that, and all they want to do is support their friends. So Chick comes up with this idea that, you know what? I'm going to go on a beer run. I am going to bring my friends beer. So and because I listened to it so long ago, I'm trying to think of this connection. I don't know how he was connected, but he was able to get himself to Vietnam and meet up with some of his friends. And it was heartwarming. It was just more of a story about no matter what you believed politically, you got to support your friends. So they were there out of not their choice, right or wrong. He was there to support them. So I gave it 3.5 stars. It was perfect listening for a journey home like that. I really liked it. The next one I picked up was Bless Your Heart by Lindsey Ryan. So I don't know how I got this messed up, but I thought this was going to be released a little bit sooner than it is. I think it doesn't get released until April of 2024, something like that. But I read it because of the premise. So it is basically a family of vampire slayers, I don't know, protectors from non-human life forms, not aliens, but I don't think it really disclaimed what exactly these were, but they were undead. We're gonna go with that. It is a family of women, I think 4 generations of women who have basically been handed down this role of the protector of this town. Something happens in this town that there is this evil spirit, evil curse, some sort of evil in the town that when there's not the right balance, people will, they are bit as if they're bit by a vampire or a zombie. Again, unclear. But then they can rise from the dead, basically. So I know that explanation is not great. But trust me, when you meet these 4 women, they are wildly different. They will make you laugh. They will make you chuckle. They will make you think of your own family relationships. One of them sucks on a butterscotch like all the time, which immediately makes me think of my mom, who always has butterscotch. So it's quirky. It was engaging. The plot was great family values. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. So if you can hold off until I think April, it's called Bless Your Heart. It was 4 stars. It was sweet. The next one I actually listened to, I finally did it, my friends. I listened to Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I'm so glad I picked this up. I am so glad I listened to this book. The narration was amazing. Amazing. And I should not have been as nervous as I was to read specifically this Stephen King. I think this, in my opinion, the overarching theme of this book is grief and how people deal with grief, whether that be a pet or whether that be a loved one. This is a interesting way of dealing with grief. I enjoyed the creepiness of it. There are scenes in this book that I will never forget. Was I slightly creeped out at times? Sure, especially when I would because I listened to this book when I would walk the dog at night and it'd be dark. Slightly creepy, but I like that. That adds to my enjoyment of the book. So I definitely got behind the characters. Dr. Lewis Creed, I can empathize with what he went through and what he experienced, and being that near to a pet cemetery and that near to being able to find a solution for your grief. I don't know. It was really good. I liked it. 4 stars. Where am I going to put my books? I don't even know. The next one I picked up, I did a lot of Kindles and audiobooks this month. It was great. Was The September House. This is by Carissa Orlando, another NetGalley book that I get to check off of my list. This one, solid 4.5 stars. This is probably as close to a 5-star read this month as can be, and I might even up that because I do still continue to think of it. So as you may know or may not know, October, I love a good spooky story. I love a good creepy spooky story, and Carissa delivered immensely. So we're given our character, which is really the September house. I feel like the house itself is such a character in this book. But we have this couple, and we're really following along with the wife. And they bought this September house about 4 years ago. They finally got to a point in their life where they can buy a house, and it's this beautiful old Victorian house, and it has all this character, and they just fell in love with it so fast that they kind of ignored some of the somewhat warnings that they were given before they purchased the house. So they buy the house and things are great, and then the first September rolls around, and basically every September, whatever is living in this house, spirits, are aggravated a bit. And when our main character starts to kind of see these different spirits, she finds a very unique and quirky way to deal with them. And basically there's just rules. There's rules on how you live with ghosts. Francesca is super helpful. She's a fantastic, helpful ghost. She gets a little weirded out in September, so you just got to be okay with the fact that she moves stuff all over the place. But it's okay. It's only just for the month. Other than that, she'll totally help put tea on for you and all that stuff. What's the little boy's name? Forget his name. But the rules are just don't go by him. Just leave him alone and he's fine. So it's just, yes, it's super creepy, yet there's this quirkiness with our main character that kind of brings it down to a not so scary level. And I hope that I did that justice. And we go from there. And it's just, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Next one I picked up was How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. This was read for my In Real Life book club, as well as my 5-star predictions, which if you read that, you know this was not 5 stars. It's a generous 4. This one follows another creepy house. There are dolls and puppets involved that do some creepy things. This, I can see why this can be a polarizing book. Some people will love it and some people will hate it. I was fine with it. There were parts of it that got a little too out there for me, and I'm usually pretty good with the strange, but this, it just was a little too strange. So we have Louise. She finds out her parents have died and she ends up having to go home to kind of deal with their estate. She has to face her family home that she hasn't been to in a long time. And she has to face a brother who she hasn't wanted dealt with in quite a while because he was kind of allowed to not necessarily grow up and stay home and be coddled, and she had to go off into the world and figure out her own stuff. And then you have the haunted house aspect of it. Yeah, 4 stars, a little odd, but I did enjoy it. So then after all of those, Pet Cemetery, haunted houses, creepy dolls, zombie, vampire-y things, I needed a break. So we went with The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. This was so much what I needed, and I think I flew through this book in a matter of a couple of days. I mean, the font is fairly big. We have some big margins, pretty short chapters. It was so good. And it's a little rom-com-y. So the bottom line is you don't mix vodka with witchcraft, and that may have happened. Our main character, Vivian, 9 years ago, she decided to nurse her broken heart with vodka and maybe a curse on her horrible boyfriend, ex-boyfriend at the time. Thought it was all fun and games. Things moved on. The ex-boyfriend had left, blah, blah, blah. Now 9 years has passed. The ex-boyfriend has come back, and shoot, the curse may have worked. And now she's got to deal with it. So like I said, it was sweet. It was spooky season-ish because we've got some witches going on. We've got some curses going on. I mean, not scary, but just a sweet rom-com that happened to deal with a witch. And I gave it 4 stars and I loved it. And now I can't wait to read the next one next Halloween because there's a second one that I don't remember what it's called. You guys probably remember. Next one I read then was The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This I had had on my Kindle for quite a while and I had not picked it up. And people, I know, I don't know why. I just had not picked it up. So this one follows a woman who, really down on her luck. She just got out of prison and is having a really hard time finding a job. So she ends up, answering an advertisement for I guess housemaid. Yeah, housemaid. So cleaner, yet sometimes takes care of the daughter. She goes to the interview and thinks there's no way I'm getting this job. This is at this huge mansion with these very well-to-do family. And as soon as they look into my past, I'm not getting it. Well, lo and behold, she gets the job. And then the crazy comes out. Oh, it's the crazy. Oh my gosh, it was so good. That one, 4.5, solid 4.5. In the midst of that, I did start listening to The Lost Witch by Paige Crutcher. This one's got a couple of timelines. We have 1922 and 2022. We have Bridget. Heron is a very powerful witch and healer, and in a small town in Ireland. One thing she wants more than anything, is a child of her own. She does finally have this child, and the child is sick, and she ends up having to make a deal basically with this night dark magic being. And when she does that, she's forced 100 years into the future. And so that part was interesting. She kind of just wakes up and she's like in present day and trying to figure out modern technology. Was cute. It lost me with the magic part of it. It lost me with a number of different, I guess, characters involved with this lock and the magical part of it. And then the narration was hard to pay attention to at some points. I realized as I was listening to it, I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. And this is kind of weird. And I don't even want to pick it back up. So I DNF'd this one for now. I'm going to put it back on with my witchy reads. And let's see, I mean, I made it a chunk. I was almost 100 pages into it. So I may pick it up next October and try to read it instead of it being audio. I think that's where it kind of lost me. So if anyone's read this, let me know in the comments if it's something worth re-picking up. So next one, then instead of when I DNF'd that one, I started listening to The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa Matlin. Did I listen to this or did I do this on? Yes, I listened to this. This one is, we have a therapist and self-help writer named Sarah. She's got all the answers. She's got like the perfect life. Everything's great. But she just bought an old Victorian house, beautiful house, that's called the Murder House, because there was a family that a very tragic event happened to in the past, to the point where like there's bloodstains still on the bedroom floor. As she starts renovations to this house, it appears as if the house is like trying to really stop her. She starts, some crazy stuff starts happening to her. She's like unable to sleep. She hears things. She sees things. It gets really, really strange. And that's about the gist of the book. Was just really, really strange. I gave it 3 stars. It had a really great potential and it just didn't quite live up to what it could have or should have. So, and I even was talking to one of my cousins and she's like, what? Like, I know. And then I know we're almost done. I read Wayward by Amelia Hart and I loved this book. This was a solid 4 stars for me. This was really, really sweet. We have 2019. We have Kate who flees London, to go to it's called Wayward Cottage. It's a cottage that she inherited by her, great aunt. Yes, great aunt. She is fleeing for a reason. She is basically not safe and she needs to get to a spot where she just can't be found. She needs to be kind of off the grid for a bit. And so when she gets to Wayward College, she starts to kind of uncover the history of her family, specifically the Waywards side of her family. And you get 3 perspectives in here. You have present day with Kate. You have 1940s with Violet, and then you have 1619 with Altha. And you get the history of the healing nature of this family and kind of the magic that comes along with it. So I really enjoyed this. I went through this pretty quick and I love this cover so much. And then the last one that I read, I fit this in like the last 2 days of October and I figured I would. So I picked up The Housemaid's Secret. This is the 2nd book by Frida McFadden that goes along with The Housemaid. And FYI, there's a 3rd that's coming out. But this continues Millie's story from what happened in The Housemaid is now over. It's been a few years and we continue on with her story. And that's about all that I can tell you. It was fantastic. I think I liked it even more than I enjoyed The Housemaid, if that's possible. If it's even possible to like a 2nd book better than the 1st. I don't know. It did for me. So those were my 11 books. It was a lot. We had some really good reads in here. We had a couple of flops. I didn't totally creep myself out every time I'm here with you guys, she hits that is not my doorbell to like for deliveries. That's where that's the dog wanting to go outside. Anyways, I didn't totally creep myself out this round or this month, this year, but read some really good creepy books. So I've shifted focus. We are all in on Historathon for November. So if you haven't heard about that, check out my video for that announcement in my TBR, but we're all in on historical fiction and I am loving it right now. Loving it. So, yeah, if you've read any good creepy books in October and you want to share them, comment below. We'll chat about them. Otherwise, like and subscribe and I'll see you next time. Bye.